Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are back with the half-scale NASCAR, and in today's video we're just going to be getting done a ton of miscellaneous type stuff that's got to get done. Although it may not seem like it, there really is not a lot of stuff to get done in order to make this drivable once again and, you know, better than how it was on the first test drive. The next time we drive it, we should definitely be able to really get on it and feel some more stuff out. But then again, there's also going to be a ton of stuff always added onto it over the time of me having this. I'm probably never going to sell this. I spent way too much time with this thing. It is almost drivable again, and a couple of the stuff that we're going to be doing today will definitely ensure that we're going to be a little bit safer while doing it and a little bit more efficient than how we were last time. So one of the things that we're going to be doing today is getting brakes. Hopefully, we should be able to get brakes on this thing. So the brake lines that are on it right now are nylon brake lines, and when I first got it, it had nylon brake lines, but one of them had a rip in it, so I went ahead and replaced them with nylon brake lines, because that's what it had, and they kind of worked for a little while, but then I'm pretty sure they went bad again, and yep, right there actually, the fitting actually cracked right there. So whenever I hit the brake pedal, it squirts out, lets air into the system, can't build pressure, which means no brakes. So what I just recently got in the mail is some steel braided brake lines with new fittings and everything, so we should be able to get those on there, bleed the brakes, flush out some old, fluid and get in some nice new fluid. This actually uses .5 brake fluid. It's not like your typical .4 or .3. .5 is silicone based, and it's usually for like higher performance things. Once we get all the air out and it got all the pressure in there, we definitely should have some good brakes, because MCP is definitely a well-known brand, and that's what's on it right now. And also, if the door keeps slamming, it's really windy out here. I just got done with like a nor'easter or something like that, but like the outer band of it is still hitting us, and the wind is just pretty crazy, so don't mind that. And then along with that, we're also going to be doing a ton of other stuff, so we'll get on to that once the time comes. But first I want to start off with the brake lines, which I actually think I left inside, so I'll be right back. Alright, so here are the new brake lines. They are definitely really, really nice. I really hope that they're long enough. I mean, this type is for MCP brakes, so they should work on the master cylinder and the caliper, and they are meant for half-scale NASCARs, mini cup cars, and basically this type of style racing go-kart. So I don't think we should have any issues, just because this is such a long cart, but these are 53 inches, and I'm really hoping that that's enough. I did measure before I ordered them, and it was going to be kind of tight, but I think it should work. So right now, let's get started. I want to go ahead and start taking out these old brake lines and everything. Basically, it's just 11mm wrench on the fittings, take them right out, and then it's basically just replace them from there, and then do the little stuff like these. Do is just drill 2 holes in the back, feel like behind the seat somewhere, just so I could get the brake lines slid through. Before I had them slid underneath here, and I kind of just like pried this up and then pulled it back down, but I don't want to risk them getting rubbed on the bottom of this like little firewall area and then wearing down and then getting pinched or anything like that. So I might as well just have 2 little ports for them to go right through and just go straight to the master cylinder. So right now I'm just going to pump it up, try and get all the fluid through the lines and everything. I just checked the fluid and it was actually filled perfectly, so I'm just going to pump it up for a little bit, check it, and then I should have to top it off, and then once I think I have all the fluid through the lines, I can bleed out any air that may have been in there. Alright, so it's definitely gotten lower, which is good. So now I'm going to pour this in and probably spill it everywhere. Ooh, precision. It's purple too, wow. That's interesting. And the reason I have this paper towel here is just to make sure that the fittings aren't leaking at all. I have a paper towel under the fittings back there too. just so when I'm done I can pull them away and see if they're wet or not. Alrighty guys, so we're actually back here the next day, and that is because I actually ran into a little bit of an issue yesterday. So as I was pumping up the pedal, every time it would try and build pressure, it would leak out between the little fitting right there and then the lines. So like right in between there, where that space is. So I contacted a couple companies and one of them got back to me. Shout out to them. I can't think of the name of them right there, but I put it in the video. Just shout out to them. And I guess check them out if you want, just for, you know, them helping me out a little bit. But basically what they told me to do is get a new fitting. So here is the old fittings that were in the master cylinder. Pretty basic, you know, just like a flat edge. But the new ones have a rounded tip to help make it seat into the new lines better. So I put those in and it actually didn't work, but it is definitely way better than how it was. So what I did is I kind of just was sitting here thinking what could be going wrong, and basically what I did is, you might notice a difference. That extra little chrome part right there on that one, I haven't messed with that one yet, but this one up top, I basically cut off the little extra chrome part and it doesn't leak at all. I was pumping up it before and you guys may be able to see the bottom one is leaking, but the top one is solid now. The line is super nicely seated against the new fitting, and then this one is all loose and not seated whatsoever. So what I'm going to be doing is taking out the rest of them along with the ones on the caliper, putting in the new fittings, cutting off the little edges on all of them, tightening them down, and then we should have no flaws whatsoever in the brake lines, and we should be good to go to finally bleed them up and get brakes. So what I'm going to do right now is just take them all off. I'm not going to bother recording it because it's probably not that interesting, but then once they're off, I'm just going to go ahead and take the angle grinder to it, cut them right off, and just make sure that there's no metal shavings or anything that get down into the hole where the lines are. So I'm going to blow it all out with air and everything like that, and then we will be good to go to continue on. Out with the old and in with the new. The brake lines are now on both sides, and I just started pumping it up and I'm not seeing any leakage whatsoever from anywhere. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do what we did when we first put them on, pump it up, keep refilling it up, and then once I think all the fluid has flowed through it, I can begin bleeding it. So I just got done pumping it up for a little while, and I'm definitely starting to get some good pedal movement, and the pad is beginning to move. So I'm gonna go ahead and start bleeding it. I don't know how much I'm really gonna record of it, because when I bleed it on this thing, when it's just me here, I'm kind of in an awkward position when I do it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bleed it. You guys probably don't want to see the position I'm in, even though I'm probably gonna show it to you. It's a little weird. So after going back and forth countless amount of times, finally got a nice stiff pedal, and take a look at the brake pads when I hit the pedal. We got good pad movement. So this thing finally has brakes, which was much needed, that's for sure. So the next thing I want to do is kind of small, but kind of like important, I guess. So the key isn't mounted up to anything, you know, the ignition switch. And on race cars, not really mini cup cars, but race cars, usually in the back somewhere, there's a turn-off switch. And it's like a lever and you turn it on and off. I can find a picture, I throw it up on the screen just in case some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But this mini cup car, my main way of turning it off won't be from the key, it'll be from the kill switch, because that will be on the dash. But I want to have like a shut off just in case that the kill switch for whatever reason doesn't work. And I'm not going to put it in the back like a race car would be, just because if it's inside, I just want to be able to like reach around, turn it, or whatever. So what I'm going to do is, since the wiring harness is pretty much all tucked under there, I'm going to take a little hole dozer and make it somewhere pretty much just right around here, and then I'll slide it in and then drill 2 bolt holes, bolt it in, and then I'll have somewhat of a little battery on-off type switch, a key. Alrighty guys, so I finally just got the key switch all mounted up for the first time in this cart. For the longest time I just had it dangling there, and I about had enough of that, so now I can just turn it on and, you know, do whatever. And what I actually like about this is that I could keep the key on if I want, and it doesn't draw any voltage from the battery, because it's not doing anything. Like if I were to like stop real quick and pull over, let's say I'm at like a drag strip or whatever, and I pull over quick to talk to someone, I don't need to turn off the key and worry about my battery dying or anything like that. I can just pull up, walk out, throw it back in, and just start it right up. So I won't have to keep reaching over and going on and off with it. So definitely pretty convenient. So in last video, I tried getting this tack to work with this engine. And a lot of you guys said that I'm gonna have to cut into both of the wires. What I was trying to do last time was just tap into one of them, one of the negative terminals on the coil, and a ton of you were saying that that is why it wasn't working. So what I'm going to do is just cut off a little bit of the wire covering and tap right into the center. Then I'm going to crank it over a couple times and see if I can actually get a accurate RPM signal. So I just hooked up the tack to the battery down there, put a ground on there. I didn't bother recording it because I'm not really sure if this is going to work or not, but the key is on, so I'm just going to crank it over right now. And if we have cranking RPMs, then it should be working. I don't know, it does kind of look promising because last time, whenever, you know, we heard that compression stroke and it building compression inside of the engine, it didn't go like this all of a sudden. So what I'm going to do is just spray in just a little bit of starter fluid like I always do, just because the fuel pumps aren't hooked up, but we'll be hooking those up soon. If it fires and it goes up to like 1,000, then it's working, so that would be sick. Nope, didn't read. It's definitely a good connection with the two of them. Like, I wrapped that thing right around it. It's nice and tight up against it. It's not like it's like super loose or anything. Oh well, it was worth a shot. So next up, I want to get the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel pump just really truly mounted to where they need to be. Before I had them all up here and right there. And plus I'm going to have a firewall between me and the engine, so I don't have to worry as much as I did before about having fuel right next to my head, but still it's just kind of sketchy having the fuel pump right there next to a hot engine. I'm just going to bring them all out. They're all falling way back there. So I'm going to bring them all out with the hoses and everything and just begin planning everything out and then figure how we could mount it. So I just got the fuel pump and fuel pressure regulator all pulled out of there and all tricked around with the wires and hoses. Everything is all hooked up again. But this is kind of what I was thinking. I can have the fuel pump and fuel pressure regulator hang down here, and if they were to somehow just leak and maybe a hose pop off, it's just going to go straight to the ground. It's not going to hit on anything and cause a massive fire, which we do not want. But my only concern would be that the fuel might not be able to travel up to the carburetors. But, I mean, the fuel pressure regulator is turned all the way down right now to, you know, minimize the amount of pressure going into the carbs. So worst comes to worst, I could definitely just turn that up if it can't make that steep incline up to the carb. But I definitely think it should. It should be able to pump it way up there. And then I could just run the return line just right back to the gas tank. But the only problem is I don't have enough hose right now to truly mount everything up, because it is currently pretty laid out. But what I am going to do is just work with what I got right now. Alright, so basically this is just my layout. Obviously this is not permanent, but this is just to give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking. I'm going to have, you know, clamps and bolts holding everything against the frame. It's definitely way out of the way of everything, and if, let's say, I'm at the track or whatever, and I need to mess with the fueling, I can simply just pop the hood on the body and just adjust it right here. It'll be nice and easy to access and make messing around with the fueling and everything just way easier. It's getting really late, and I was really hoping to get done way more in this video, but just right now for me, time is just not available to me right now. Actually, I'll just let you guys know this. For the past 16 weeks or something like that, I've been going through the fire academy. I'm a volunteer firefighter. I'm a probie right now, so I gotta go through the academy and do a lot of training, and then I have the big test and everything, which I've been trying to like study for and then also make videos for. It's a really big test. There's a good amount of training. It's really physical, that's for sure. I mean, tomorrow I go in a box, set on fire, 1500 degrees. Hopefully this isn't the last video I ever make for you guys. Low-key pretty nervous. I know a lot of you guys have been realizing that I've been a little bit behind on videos for the past like 2 months, and that's just one of the reasons why. Also, school has been starting back up and been trying to get in the grind of that, but not a huge fan of school like most people. But tomorrow is my last fire academy class, so hopefully if I pass the test, then I should be able to get right back onto the grind of videos and just have that stress taken off my shoulders of failing and needing to retake the whole course. So hopefully you guys can understand that. But once I get a chance, I can go to the store and just get the stuff I need, like the hoses, for example, you know, to get that fuel pump stuff finally out of the way, and we can actually run this thing once again. And before I end off this video, I actually want to ask you guys a quick question. So I have the clutch handle right here on the steering wheel that I just put here for the test drive, and I would like to put it on the shifter so I can just pull it and, you know, shift it like that. But what do you guys think I should put on here in order to, you know, be able to have this clamp down tightly but still not be like too big to like bend this? Like I might have to just weld like a bar across and then maybe bring it to like all back here just to stiffen it up. I was thinking maybe like tubing kind of like that over there, but I'm really not sure like how I'd even be able to mount that, but I'm sure one of you guys know, and if you do, definitely comment that down below. And actually, before I just went and took off that little middle brake pedal that we had before, it was just in the way because, you know, that whole clutch pedal thing didn't really work out how I wanted it to, but now that's out of the way, don't have to worry about flopping around and getting in the way of my actual braking foot. Anyway guys, I'm going to be ending off the video here. Check out my social medias, they'll be in the outro of this video. Instagram, Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about the channel.